with racing, then you'll love the new betting brand for racing fans. With exclusive markets, promotions, insights and content. That's betr. Gamble responsibly.
Hello and thanks for joining us on a very special edition of Punters Inside Run. I'm Matthew Campbell. Joining me is Mick Sharkie. It's the Melbourne Cup edition and it's Melbourne Cup 101. It's for you people watching that have one bet a year. Shark, some punters just have one bet a year.
I can't believe it.
$5, $10, $20. They have some sort of combinations, but this is the day for them, so we're going to go through that.
Yeah, we are. And look, it's a confusing race, and it has become more so, Matty, in the last sort of 20 years with so many international horses coming and targeting the Melbourne Cup. It's a big money race, one of the biggest staying races on the global calendar. So we want to do as much as we can to make it easier for the people watching to back a winner.
All right, about those internationals, most people, even punters that follow the racing, don't know anything about them. Take us through some of the names that our punters can follow.
Well, the favourite this year, Deauville Legend, is an international. He's an English 3-year-old, so he's a bit like Cross Counter, who came out and won the Melbourne Cup a few years ago. Trained by a young trainer, James Ferguson, who hasn't been at the Cape very long, but he's got a very, very good horse here. He looked like he was going to be one of the more dominant staying 3-year-olds in England this year. So they decided midway through the year the Melbourne Cup was going to be the target. They honed in on the race and they're going to arrive in Melbourne at Flemington on Tuesday at the peak of their powers. He's going to be a very, very hard horse to beat.
Punters can back straight out, just put their $5 on a horse, or they like to bet each way Melbourne Cup at some value, some odds, maybe a couple to look at there, it's some juicy odds.
Yeah, well, if it's going to be wet, and the forecast in Melbourne for the next 7 days or so looks wet, so we may well have a wet Melbourne Cup. Knight's Order. He's a pretty good wet tracker. He's already a Sydney Cup winner on a very, very heavy track. I think he's going as well as he's ever gone. It was a massive run in the Caulfield Cup. That's usually a really good form reference for the Melbourne Cup. We know he'll run the distance right out, and I think he's weighted to run a really good run. He hasn't got enough weight, or not enough weight, but too much weight at the handicap to stop him.
A great tradition for punters on Melbourne Cup Day is to take a box trifecta, whether it's boxing up 3 to run 1, 2, 3, or boxing up 4 for a bit more value and taking for maybe half a unit, so maybe spending $12 or $6. How wide do we have to go to get the trifecta?
We can go as wide as you like. You can box 6 or 7 up, but we're going to concentrate on 4, and I think 4 horses, that would be a lively play in a trifecta. I think you must include Deauville Legend as a starting point. I think Without a Fight, another European horse who's being well prepped for this race. I think he's in there with a super chance. There's a local roughie called Deshaun Sweet Jr.
And I think some punters at home are going, I don't want to back any internationals, I want to back an Aussie horse. That's it?
Well, he's a New Zealand bred horse.
Oh, just when you thought it was safe to go back in the pool.
We've claimed him before, Matty. Let's claim it again, especially with a cool name like Deshaun Sweet Jr. He's going to be near 50 to 1. He's an Adelaide Cup winner. I think he'll run really well. And Knight's Order rounds out my 4. He'll be up on the speed. He goes through the wet. So there's a little combination of 4 there that I think you can play with. And hopefully, Matty, fingers crossed, the Cup trifecta's in there somewhere.
Some of our once-a-year punters go through the paper and they look down and they just look at jockeys. They just look at the famous jockeys. What about some of the famous ones?
Well, Jamie Carr is probably one of the best jockeys in the world. She's had an incredible season. First jockey in Victoria to ride over 100 winners on the city circuit, so that was a great achievement a few years ago. She's got a good partnership with Smoke and Romans, who was the favourite for the Caulfield Cup, ran out of the placings there, but he looks like he'll stay all day. Anyone that likes Jamie Carr, they'll be honing in on Smoke and Romans, I'm sure. All
right, to recap, your top 4, because out of those top 4 numbers, punters can either back it straight out, each way, take a box trifecta, or even a box first 4 if you're feeling lucky. But what about your first 4 to recap?
Yeah, try to mix a nice bit of value in here with the favourite as well, Deauville Legend. He would be my top pick in the Melbourne Cup. I think Knight's Order's a great horse up on speed, gets through the conditions, and around 20 to 1, I think he's a good chance. Without a Fight's well and truly in the market, and if you like a roughie, and Matty, we all love a roughie in the Melbourne Cup, Deshaun Sweet Jr. I think is the best roughie.
Thank you, Shark.
Good on you, Matty.
And thank you for joining us. Melbourne Cup 101. If you are having just your one bet for the year, good luck. I hope you're successful, and thanks for joining us here on Punters Inside Run.
The betting brand for sports fans. That's betr. Gamble responsibly.